In this video, we're gonna discuss one of the essential topics for the large QML projects. QML module provides version types and JavaScript resources in a type namespace. By the end of this video, we're gonna make this up with buttons module for items you see and styles module for managing colors and theme. Okay, let's add a little bit of theory before we jump into Creator and make our project with QML modules. So why do we want to use QML modules? The simplest answer is to separate logic. Most applications have many functionalities, and if you throw everything into the single directory, it will be such a mess. Also, modules allow us for type versioning. A module is defined by qmldir file. Each module has a type namespace, which is also an identifier. So in every directory, we're gonna have this qmldir file where we specify identifier of the module and the files we want to add inside it. So let's start making our application. First of all, I want to create the folder structure, because here you see we have default one, and that's not good for now. Okay, we will use a module for styles that will manage colors, and a module for buttons, where we will create a base button and inherit 3 different ones that will be used in main. And okay, so you can just right click and show in Explorer. I already opened it, my project directory in Explorer. So here, let's just create our directory simply, because it will be faster than clicking inside Creator. Okay, the first is gonna be components, and inside components, let's add buttons module, and inside button module, let's, as I said, add first of all, it's gonna be base class for the base type for our button. It's gonna be custom button QML. Then I will just copy it 3 times and rename to, okay, primary one. The secondary, and danger. So if you worked with some CSS libraries, you understand what I mean by those buttons. Just this is base one, and here we just specify some colors, so we don't have to repeat every time we use it inside our code. And also in every directory where we have some, each directory with .qml files should contain qmldir. So create qmldir. For now, let's leave it empty, and we'll put something inside when we will add it to our solution. And also, when creating a QML document, be careful, because the name of it must begin with an uppercase letter. Okay, also, let's add the style module, and inside it, styles QML, where we will just predefine colors in our project, and qmldir. Okay, and now we have to add the created file structure to solution. So right click on your build, add existing directory, and here just select components and style module, because you want to add everything that is inside. Add, wait a little bit, and Creator will add it to your CMake. Here, as you see, just one by one. And as you see, we have our files. And to avoid QML warnings about import pass and problems with finding module, we can add an import pass. So basically, let me specify it, and I will explain why I do it. So after loading, so before loading the QML file, we have to add import pass. We can do it that way. But here I have tutorial 10 video, so I just changed to my project name. Okay, and why I do it? We specified the path in our project because that is where QML modules are laying. We will not write an absolute path to the files we want to import. I mean, later in main, for example, when I want to import module, we won't write absolute path. So instead, we'll just make use of module identifier. So QML should know where to search for it. And so we don't get any warnings when writing code, we gotta add this import path. I want to start with the style module because the second module will make use of that one. So let's go to the styles QML. I will just paste and explain you what is happening here. So some parts of the code can be new to you. So let me explain everything. The first line of code, we mark our item as a singleton. It works the same way as in the C++ singletons. So Qt create for us one consistent object, and we can get values from it without instantiating. So later I will just able to write something like styles and my color, background color, for example, without instantiating it, because it is singleton and it is already instantiated in one object. So we don't have some unique properties, we just make constants to use in our UI. Earlier, to make some basic items, we used the item type here. We make it like that. So as you see here, I use Qt object. The reason for this is that item is a basic type for something that should be displayed, but Qt object is kind of like the most basic type of the most basic type in QML. It's like you object in C++, that can be displayed, but can store values. So difference between that is just okay. Let me write item can be displayed Qt object store values, and it's just kind of optimization. Inside it, we'll make an editable theme property and a lot of color properties that depend on the theme and can be changed because it is read only. So here, when so here we can change. We have dark theme or the bright one, and depending on that, colors gonna be changed. So I'll use for now just dark theme, but I wanted to show you how to do it in like real apps to not make some if statements. I mean, we make here if statement, but one time and it's inside one object. Okay, and inside qmldir, let's go here. I'll show you what we should write to add files and make module. We specify the name of the module and the items inside our module. Be careful because the name of the module, this one, should be, must be the same as folder name. Here we have style module. And unfortunately, that line of code on top, pragma singleton, is not enough for QML, and we have to also add the singleton flag here before our file. So here we specify the name, how we will call it later in when we make use of our module, then version, and then file that implementing it. Okay, and let's just right away test the newly created module. So here, let's add the background to the main window. So, because as you probably remember, we got this dark background on presentation. So let's use import style module and provide version 001. So okay, as I said to you before about this import pass warning. Okay, let's left it like this, just test if it works, and then we'll show you how to fix like the warning, because without this line, it just won't work. And we also got to fix our creator. Okay, and here I just add a rectangle to my window. So here I import styles module and specify the version I want to import. And remember that the name of the module must be the same as directory name. Just remember, and then I'm adding a rectangle that fills the full window and lays under all other items. Z is like a layer, because earlier we used only X and Y, but Qt supports three dimensions. And here for the color, as I wrote you before, just use styles, this name, and background color that is laying here inside. Okay, let's try to run it. Save QMLdir, and let's try to run it. Okay, we have some errors. Let me check what I done wrong. Okay, what has happened is that we created these QML files, buttons, and leave it empty. So we can do it. So for now, just rewrite what I have. I import Qt Quick, and here I create item in custom button, and in the three left ones I import the same, but inherit this type from custom button. So I mean maybe not inherit, but make my item based on custom button. So integer button primary and secondary the same way. For now, just copy and paste it, and later I'll explain what is happening. So now if I run, I have my background, as you see, but we have this warning. And if you go to tools, QML reset code module, code model, this not leaving us. So now we gotta use CMake, because as it is written here, for CMake projects, make sure QML import path visible in CMake cache txt. Okay, let's go to the CMake, and after adding our files, let's also add this QML import path. So here what we want to add is, let me explain those lines if you're not really experienced this is a CMake user. Here I create list and append list name at qmldirs, and append to it CMake source dir. It's just the directory where all our files are laying. This one, I mean. Okay, and then I set this QML import pass the same as we got in my warning. Warning is already gone, but the same as it was in warning. And inside, I set to QML import pass my list, because in CMake list, I mean, I pass it like a string, because in CMake lists are just like item 1, then item 2, separated like this, so it just can be string. And by specifying the string, we'll just binding the cache to this name. Or I don't know how to really call it, but you can just copy, or I don't know, maybe leave just Qt creator and your version. Or if you use it now for just testing purposes, you can write here what you want, just how it will be assigned in cache, Uh, and now if you save it and your project will rebuild, you see no errors, no warnings are here. And if warnings uh, still there, then you can go to tools, as I showed you before, QML, and reset code model. It will force Qt creator to think one more time. Is it really warning? Is it really okay? I mean, process one more time your QML code. Okay, let's go to custom button, and I'll just paste and show what is happening here and implement it. Uh, okay, let's start with this basement. If you use just property, like here, then one directional binding is made. And using this data in some item, for example, to set the text can cause the data to be out of date. In styles, we made a singleton object, so it is not really a way to make an alias. But here, as you see, I use alias. And alias keyword makes the binding bidirectional. It means that whatever we change the value property, it will be up to date. And here I specify where I want to pass it. So if we change this value on the run, then everything will be up to date. If you remember from the beginning of the video how this button is supposed to look, then notice that the border and the text color have the same color. And I done it just for the simplicity from one side, but from the other side, it will make a little bit overhead right now. But it's okay. I'll show you how to do it. So the color of the border and text is the same, and when we hover on it on button, then the colors are changed to the background one. And unfortunately here, because okay, let's start from it, because here button height and width is like obvious, but why I specify it here and then specify it here, because rectangle is kind of like absolute item. uh, I mean, absolute, if you're familiar with CSS and HTML, it means that it can lay on other rectangle simply. And here, so it have some shape, and it is laying our layout in sensible way and specify the width and height of inside item. Okay, then I have background color, and I pass it to rectangle color, then text color, and button and text. I pass it to text, to button text and text. Here text color I don't specify, I don't pass it nowhere, because now I will show you how to do this interesting binding with switching colors. And as I said, unfortunately, you can't pass two properties to the alias, but we can figure it out by adding some kind of middleware component between them. Because what I mean, uh, in the perfect world, we could potentially like write something, button text color, and specify the color, and we also want to add a border, so it will be perfect if I could write something like rectangle border and color. But we can't pass more than one parameter in our alias, so we got to make something with it. And now update the version. What I have done, as you see, I pass a text color to the new rectangle component that will be not visible, and then I used it inside my rectangle and text components. So here I add the text color. I have text color property, pass it to the shared rectangle, and then from the rectangle I use it in border color and text color. So okay, fine. To not getting back later, also I forgot. Let's declare all buttons inside the qmldir document. I'll just copy and paste. Here, as you see, I added components and dot before the name of the folder, because here the name of the folder. Why I done that? Because, as I said before, the module identifier should be the same as a directory, and here we have first the components and then buttons module. And when we got this parent folder, we gotta add a dot between them. And as before, I specified the name, how I want to call it later, file and version. And buttons not are not singletons, so I use it without this flag as I done in styles. Okay, let's go to main and just quickly test our custom button that we created to make sure everything works correct. And now import components buttons module, the same as specified in qmldir. And here we can add our custom button, unknown component. Interesting. Let's try to run it. Oh, sorry, because here I misspelled. Oh, and now fine. We have this click me find button, and now I didn't use my styles. Here I just passed some static values because I will remove it later, and don't worry. We'll use buttons from danger button, primary, and so on. And notice also that we are passing anchors property, even though we didn't specify it in custom button file. It is possible because the root of button is item, and really custom button is kind of override of item. It's just like about because for someone it can be not obvious because I don't specify it anchors as a property, but I pass it. So how it works? That's how it works, because custom button is kind of override of item, and we just can pass it like this. Then specify width, height, color, text, color, and text. And as you see, I have color of the border and text set to white and background to red. But I pass only once this white. Okay, fine. If you run it, it looks okay, but we haven't implemented hovering and clicking logic yet. So let's do it. Go to custom and okay, how to fix this warning? I think we can just reset code model and yes, it works okay. So go to custom button and here maybe after. Okay, let's make it before. Okay, I added this chunk of code. Just if you're interested, I mean, if you try to implement it yourself. And because I want to change text color and background color back and forth on hover, I defined two properties. They won't be changed, so they're not aliases, those ones. And I assign them to passed once when component is loaded. So I create two properties, stored background color and stored text color, just to cache it, because later I will change those ones, so to switch. So here, when component is loaded, I store them. And then I also added signal to click, but wait a little bit for it. Let me explain firstly this, and then I add mouse area that helps us to add this hover and click events. Fill with parent, the parent is item, then enable hovering and write this logic. So when entered, I change the root background color, this, to stored text color, and text color to stored background color. So because those are aliases, it will change in all items where they are passed. And on exit, I change it back to the starting point. So text to the text, background to the background. I also added the click signal here, clicked, so that I can pass slot in main and can handle click event. Because here I just when click it, I call this signal, and later in main I can uh, specify what will happen. So like this here in main. The signals and slots in QML work the same way as in C++, so if you don't understand it, then I highly recommend you to watch my video about signals and slots. So I passed this slot. Let's test how it works. Okay, when I hovered, nothing is working. Fine. Let's find out what is happening. Sorry, okay, I noticed here because I just copy and paste my code, mouse area should lay inside rectangle, of course. 'Cause here I already created it, but I'm sorry. Just paste it to rectangle, inside rectangle, and now it will work. Here, as you see, I have this button. When we hover, it change colors back and forth, and when I click, clicked message is written because we pass slot here, and that's cool. What we have done already is good, a good basement, but if you have ever worked with the libraries like Bootstrap, there are always some ready-to-go buttons where you don't have to provide any colors, uh, like this, and just the text and optionally sizes. So I want to make three different types of button. I mean, I created it, but I want to implement it right now. So let's start with danger one. Here, then primary. I'll explain right now what is happening with them, and secondary. As you see, the implementation is pretty much the same. All I change is like because the text color is the same, in every button, so I pass the same. I just import it from my module, then specify background color. In our case, in danger, it's gonna be some kind of red, a primary blue or something, and secondary yellow. So I just created uh, from the custom button and specify properties I want to add. And see here I specified more of them, but it is okay. It will work without, for example, like something like width. I will be able to specify sizes and text and slot later in main where I use it, because uh, in those in those types it is just like middleware. I mean, I don't know here what I want to do in on click, so it is just reusable components, you know. So I'm doing this to avoid the copy on the same lines of code every time I want to instantiate the button, because most of the times application have similar buttons, and there is no sense to provide the same color every time instead of use this prepared classes. So let's use our new components in main. So here, but then I deleted the previous code with the custom button, add column with spacing and centering, and here I use first the primary button with width, height, the text, and the slot on click. Then secondary button, and then danger button. So if I run it, okay, it's interesting. Okay, let me see what I done so far. Okay, so I noticed one thing when I copy and paste my code, I messed it up and I deleted those lines. And as I said, you see this error. Like if I don't edit, but I provide width and height to rectangle, that's what I see. Really, here buttons are laying on each other just. And if I edit, then you see I have my buttons just as in the beginning of the video. And if I click, I get my messages. So as you see, in that way we can create reusable QML modules. And that's really all I got today. So thanks you for watching and see you in the next episode.